Shaman King episode 21, that was 2 great episodes in a row, and this time it's actually about a character I enjoy watching, or rather, characters that have dynamics between each other and an introduction of a new one, of course. Episode 21 was absolutely great all around in my opinion. It's quite pleasing really having 2 great episodes back to back. But yeah, let's get into it. We start what seems like Yo's house. It's not exactly clear, but considering the tournament is in Japan anyways, I'd imagine that is indeed Yo's house, with the crew just chilling and having a good time, and then bozos come in and exclaim they are now different kinds of bozos and thank them for not killing them, etc, etc. That was more of a gag scene that fills in a little bit more background for Hao, but what's more important is that at the end of the scene, Ryu is absolutely devastated to see Lyserg has joined teams with X-Laws. It's like every single scene with Ryu, it's always golden. The focus of the episode is of course the X-Laws, Iron Maiden Jeanne, as well as Lyserg and Morphine. And I really love the nuances they have with Lyserg. The beginning of the episode, he has those brainwashed eyes as if he's not exactly believing into things, apologizing to Yo, etc. And then going full berserk on the Egyptian team, who are once again extremely stereotypical, but as I said in the previous episodes, for the purposes of this show, stereotypes, they're perfectly fine. It's just a showcase of their culture in their most intense, in my opinion. It kind of brings that different color into the series, which I really like. But yeah, overall, Lyserg just feels like he is reading off of a script, and I mean that figuratively, of course, because it's still not exactly clear whether he believes this doctrine that the X-Laws bring over, whether he's actually lost all that much. Ryu feels like he is lost, but Yo, on the other hand, has other ideas. Maybe there's something more going on within Lyserg, and that, of course, pays off towards the end of the episode. Well, not exactly the end, but towards the end of Lyserg's screen time, let's say. The moment he is going for the kill and Yo is still believing that Lyserg won't do it, and he actually does not, but it's a bit more complicated. Lyserg is trying to play it off as if it was Morphine who stopped the killing blow, whereas Morphine is looking just as confused as to what happened. Marco is of course blaming this on Lyserg for not having the determination to go through with this move to command Morphine. He's still believing that Morphine is the one who stopped the pendulum. But again, looking back at Yo, he is not so sure himself whether it was Morphine or Lyserg. And in the old anime, I am pretty sure there was more to the topic as well. I am not sure if that's the case with the main canon, that is the manga canon, of course. It's been way too long since I have read it. But yeah, I will be looking forward to see if there is that little bit more conflict within Lyserg being explored. I'm sure it will have to be eventually, but in what way? That's what I'm looking forward to. And of course, Marco is just throwing the Iron Maiden torture device towards Lyserg. That's one of the most beautiful shots, despite being quite the gag scene in such an intense moment. It's one of those iconic shots, regardless, I don't care. That's an absolutely beautiful shot to a beautiful conflict to watch reveal itself on screen. Of course, the Egyptian guy is a little bit too full of himself after being absolutely decimated by the single most underdog person within the group. So I have no idea what's going on through his head. His teammates have the right idea. This guy, he does not. He absolutely does not. But that's the point where we get introduced to Iron Maiden Jeanne, who was done a massive disservice in the original anime. But here, as expected, we are getting to see the proper Iron Maiden Jeanne. The torture device actually has its torture portions installed, unlike the original anime that didn't do anything, at which point what was the point to having the damn torture device in the first place. But yeah, it's just looking at it is incredibly brutal. The moment Marco just opens it up, that wave of blood just splashes all over the ground. That is some heavy stuff that naturally did not get included in the original anime 20 years ago. But it's such a heavy scene, and the anime is trying to, relieve your mind a little with a little bit gags, like Anna just slapping Yo's face so he doesn't see the naked little lolly inside the torture device. But still, you can't exactly ease up the visual that's being presented to you. That little girl coming out of the torture device with the blood splashing around and all that stuff. that is good imagery on the anime side, and of course the original being the manga, but I really like the fact that they did not shy away from showcasing it. But of course, Shaman King is never subtle with its topics, it's quite in your face, and Iron Maiden Jeanne is not an exception here. You know, her entire story about how the nature has a specific law, and due to the human's complexity, it came to a point where the law of the nature is no longer applying to humans, and she is just seeing herself as the person who's delivering that law of nature. It is quite in your face. Yes, you can't exactly run away from the explanations, but the way she just brutally murders every single one of them. Oh, that's good. That is that is good adaptation I wasn't expecting. You know, again, in the middle of these incredibly heavy looking scenes, we have again one of those gag scenes where the X-Loves are like doing the X with incredible enthusiasm. That is admittedly a bit not fitting to the tone that we're having, with two guys looking towards their decimated friend with blood being splashed to their face. But again, gag scenes I don't know, it's like really brutal stuff being showcased on the screen. I feel like it has to be. It's just a little attempt at trying to alleviate that. It's gore, isn't it? I mean, we're not exactly seeing the nitty-gritty stuff, but come on, blood is splashing around. You just have a gag scene over there. In my opinion, even in the manga, that is bad taste as to how to alleviate the theme that's going on. But hey, who am I to judge? It's a show for kids, so it gets a pass, I guess. But yeah, as I said, the little gag scene complaints I have, they are nitpicks. This was an absolutely greatly animated episode. You know, at the end, Lyserg is just completely in shock, very nauseated, about to throw up. Manta is just completely out, he blacks out completely. Everyone's just in pure shock, and in my opinion that's a good way to portray all of these after a greatly animated and adapted episode, in my opinion. And of course, aside from Iron Maiden Jeanne, you know, this sets up how far the X-Lows are gonna go when it comes to it, but come on, it's very obvious, I don't need to mention that. Next episode, however, is when I am looking forward to the most in a long time at this point, to be honest. Because the next episode title is I'll Go Anywhere With You, with Ryu being plastered all over the background. So yeah, we seem to be getting the first match for Yo's team. We're gonna finally see that third member that I have been very excited to see as well, you know. The three of my favorite characters are finally starting to get some screen time, and I cannot wait. So I'm just gonna wrap this up here, and I will see you all next week. Actually, I'm not gonna see you all next week because I'm going to vacation and I won't be able to record this, but I will definitely watch it and will make my video when I come back home the week after. But that doesn't change the fact that I am hyped as fuck, and I'll see you then. Until then, stay cool.